you've thrown a lot of big events. I've been to a bunch of them. Was there one that was the least, well, I want to know about the least flowy event you threw, like where it didn't work and why, and the corollary, the flowiest event you think you threw and why.
Yeah, I'd love to answer. I mean, the least flowy events by far are events in cities that last for an evening, right? Because there's just no time to get into a flow. And so the least flowy events that we've done, we did plenty of at the very beginning and realized there was no flow, so we'd stop doing them. We're just city dinners. Like it's very difficult to make a city dinner, a dinner in a city, super flowy. And of the big events we did, right? Like the first event was 19 people, 60, 120, 250, 750, up until thousands of people. We would spend a year planning these, and the events were 3 days and 3 nights. And when you have an experience that immersive with that much effort going into it, where people have to, they have to literally make a pilgrimage to get there. They have to get on an airplane, basically, for almost everyone. They have to check into a hotel. I mean, they're very bought in. The harder it is to get to an event, right, the more bought in someone's going to be. It's why Burning Man is so difficult to get to, and you have to wait in line. I mean, that is the ultimate test of a self-selecting event, right? That any person on the planet can actually go to Burning Man, but you have to self-select in to wait in this insane line and roll in playa dust, if it's your first time ever. And I think for our events, we had that same experience, but the summit way, which is, you're coming to an event that, is 24 hours a day. It doesn't stop, right? You're coming to an event where it's packed with content sessions where people are challenging your ideas. And so, I think the events Stephen, also got progressively much more flowy as we understood when you want to get people into a flow state, you kind of awkwardly need to do icebreakers, either before the event or in the very beginning of the event. And, a funny story is at Summit at Sea in 2011, in order to check into the boat, the check-in, we got them to move it earlier. So to check on the boat, you had to go through the equivalent of like customs TSA, and the check-in was from 9 a.m. to midnight. And we assumed like everyone would come all throughout the day. And what actually happened is everybody arrived basically at 4 p.m. because they slept in or they met interesting people the night before. And when Jeff and I got to the lobby to greet, the few hundred guests that had all arrived, they were in this like 90-minute long line. And these people were furious. We said like, well, how are you? And they're like, horrible. This is the worst event experience I could possibly have gotten. Like, your event sucks and it hasn't started because I have to wait an hour and a half to get in. And I think like we realized in that moment, like, how could we flip this? And so we literally got on our phones and walkie-talkies. We had one of our DJs come down. We dimmed all the lights in the port. We brought all the food we had on the ship down. And since it was only the first couple hundred people there, the next 1,200 people that boarded, they arrived in the port, literally to a party at the port of Miami. Like, imagine getting to an airport with all the lights off and a DJ outside of TSA, right? And then you're just, the next group of people that came in, they said, like, this is the best check-in I've ever had in my entire life. This is the greatest event I've ever seen. And we're like, all right, go tell that to the first.
I remember that line from the second year. Or the second Summit at Sea. That was
so what happened is we started learning how to put people in flow state. Like, it never feels good to wait in line. It gets you off. It gets you on it's like getting out of the wrong side of the bed. Like, what sucks you out of flow state more than like having like super bright lights and not feeling like you're welcome into a place? Versus, like you said, on the second year, we actually planned ahead and made the DJ party at, customs at the port of Miami, like an actual thing. Like, and people were like, no, I don't want to check in yet. I want to hang at the customs party. So like, our flow state kept getting better and better and better.
If what you've heard on Flow Research Collective Radio has been helpful, please consider doing us a solid and leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to this. Reviews help us connect to a wider audience so we can get these peak performance principles out to more people.